Thank you for subscribing to the channel. It's much appreciated. And for those who haven't subscribed yet, I'll take you a second and it'd be much appreciated. Thank you in advance. Now, what I want to talk to you about today is putting your work out to other people. Fiverr, UPWORK, companies like that. Now, I use UPWORK. I haven't tried Fiverr. I don't know. I've heard so many bad things about Fiverr. More than I have good things, to be honest with you. And I suppose it's a choice. I mean, it depends who you talk to. It could be the other way around for UPWORK, but I actually like UPWORK. I like the way it's structured, other than for getting assistance from the company staff or owners or community helpers or whatever. It can take days. You can't really just communicate. Well, you couldn't when I last used it, which was only last year. You couldn't ask questions. You could ask them, but you just got to wait a long time for a reply. There was no one to phone, no nothing. So that's the only thing I didn't like about it then. Like I say, that may have changed. Now, let's say, for instance, a manuscript that you want proofreading, copy editing, developmental editing, or whatever kind of editing you need on your manuscript. Then you really want to choose someone location specific, I'd say. So what I do is, I'm in the UK, and I'm in England. So what I try to do is, I get someone as close to me as possible. So even if that's on mainland Europe, you know, not just in the UK, as far as Europe goes. And yeah, I'll try and get someone as close to that as possible. Ideally, I'll get someone as close to me here in Cheshire as possible. And I've had people from Manchester, from Leeds, Yorkshire. And yeah, I believe that's where they are, because I've done a few little checks, you know, just asking them the right questions and yeah, getting to know them a little bit. And the work's come back great, and it's come back in English, if you like. You know, now we say things in England like, you might say demoralize, you might do it with a Z, we'll spell it with an S, for instance, you know. So there's different things, there's different ways of spelling, different ways of communicating, of phrasing things. And it's important for me when I'm doing my work to come over as though it's me, you know, that's done this editing. That's me that's wrote the book. I don't want it all changed to suit someone else in, say, the US or another country altogether. So it's important. But how do you find that person? Well, this is the tricky bit, because you don't know where they're from. The best thing to do is to look at their reviews, see where most of their reviews are coming from. See the regions the reviews are coming from, and make sure the reviews are good, obviously. And there's more than a handful. I know that doesn't give those who are just starting out much of a shout, but you know, they'll build up eventually. But I'm talking about you. I'm thinking about you and me. We want as many reviews as we can get, good reviews, and we want to be able to see that they're not all from those countries I've just mentioned, for instance, or Iceland, they're all in one place, or in the US, they're all in one, the UK, they're all in one place, unless you're in those places or close to them. So what I'm saying is, if you're in Thailand and you're writing a book in Thai, you want, in the Thai language, you want someone from Thailand, ideally, or as close to it as you can, that understands your language, your phrasing, yeah, the way you say things. You know, it's important. So yeah, they might be able to understand the language, but do they understand the people? I know that sounds a bit much, like, but it's important. So if I was Thai and I wanted my book in proofread and copy edited, I will look for someone who's Thai. Now, that's not discriminatory or racist or anything else. It's because you want your book right, and you want it by people who actually understand where you're coming from. So that makes sense, doesn't it? But yeah, that's super important. Now, I've had a copy editor, proofreader, doing, well, 3 or 4 of my, well, it's actually 4 of my books. And on the 4th time, the work came back completely different than the first 3 times. It was set out differently. It wasn't like they just changed their apps. It was different. It was so different you could tell it was done by somebody else. Now that's the problem. Well, I actually stopped using them from then on. It took me a long time to get that work right. But I stopped using them. Now, this is a problem with the likes of UPWORK and Fiverr and others. People can, like right now, I could just go online, I could open an account, and I could start offering my service as a proofreader. And I could put on a premium price. You know, I could put my picture up. Actually, my picture might lower the price, but I could put my image up, I could put my location up, I could put all my details up, and guarantee that that's the situation, that's who I am, that's where I'm from, and maybe put a price up to whatever I want. Let's say I put a price up for, I know I'm just being a bit ridiculous here, but let's say I put a price up for £30 per 1,000 words proofread and copy edited. Now I'll get someone thinking, well, okay, then yeah, you know, it's a heavy price, maybe it's a proper job. So they ask me to do the work. Now straight away I get onto someone else who'll do it for half the price. I'll give them the work. They'll give it me back. I'll give it back to the client. And you'd be surprised how many people do that kind of thing. It's a big business. Now, I could have made £15 for every 1,000 words. If you're talking 100,000 words in a book, I've not done so bad. So it's real tricky. So I'm going to go through the motions in a minute of how we do this, how we actually hire someone. Right, this is UPWORK. Build your business with top freelancers. Now there's some incredibly talented people in UPWORK, and client rate talent 4.9 out of 5 based on nearly 3 million reviews. That's not on UPWORK itself, that's on the actual clients. So if we look at these differences here, writing and translation, you can go to creative design. Let's say for instance you wanted some illustrations made, book covers made, the whole book cover, everything proofread, everything put together. You can find people who will do this on UPWORK. But I'm just looking at writing here right now and copy editing. You can look at anything you want, like I say. You've got to register. Now I'll sign in because I've already got an account. Once you've signed in and you've opened an account, you've got basically something like this. Right, post a job. It's really quite simple. Short-term or part-time work, less than 30 hours a week. Write a title for your job post. Editing and proofreading. Now I've got choices here. Copy editing, other content writing. Let's have a look at some other categories. Copy editing, and no, we'll stick it at that for now because the title will still be there, and we'll go. You can add skills here, what you require from a person, what you require for the work you need. Now I want proofreading, English, copy editing, error detection, yeah. Throw in editor anyway. English language again. Now I'm going to put complete copy and commented copy. Next is scope. Next, estimate the scope of your work. These aren't answers, but this information helps recommend the right talent for what you need. I'll go with medium because it's not simply just write me a blog post. You know, it's actually copy and edit a long form book. How long will the work take? Now there's not much of a choice here, is there really? 1 to 3 months. Now, it could only take a few days. It might only take a week. It might take them that long, 3 months. Depends how much work they've got on and how much time they dedicate to it. What level of experience will it need? Now, I can go with intermediate here because that will bring the price down. But will it guarantee me the right work? Well, not necessarily. So I'm going to edit that again, and I'm going to go with expert. UK only. So I've got a choice here, and that you'll probably have the same when you actually connect to Upwork from your location. Budget. So much per hour. I want a project budget. I don't want an hourly rate. I want to set a figure, and we'll look at how it goes. How much am I prepared to pay for 1,000 words? Proofread and copy edited. Well, that's a tricky one. Let's have a little look. If I go for $10 US, which is really low, but let's get the calculator out. 10 times 100 equals, it's $1,000. I mean, that's pretty basic, wasn't it? I mean, they could have just told you that, but it's nice to see things on the screen. It's going to cost me $1,000 for 100,000 words. Maybe that's a little bit too much. Maybe not, if I want it done right. So let's have a look at that. Is it going to be worth it to me? Well, yeah. Could I just say 500? Maximum project budget. Let's half it and see what happens. Okay, so I'll put in $500 US. Preview job post. Editing, proofreading. Describe your job. This is how talent figures out what you need and why you're great to work with, basically. Include your expectations about the task, what you're looking for in a working relationship, and anything unique about your project, team, or company. Now, this is where you'll write your job description. You'll basically say it as it is. You won't try to come up with anything. You're talking to a person. Attach the file. If I just click on that, I could use PDFs. I could use a Word document. All you do then is post your job. And all of a sudden you'll start getting emails. Yeah, I can do that. I can do this. I can do that. I can do it. But I've got a bit of a queue. But as soon as that person actually contacts you, and you'll get an email notification, you can then decide whether you want to use them or not. Go to their profile. Check out their reviews. Check out how happy people are. How many reviews are there? How many people have used them? How many jobs they've got on? It will actually tell you. Jobs in progress, and it might say 20 or 30. Now ideally they're not all in progress because it's just a bit of a problem with that, because it doesn't really show, because unless they've closed them, unless I've closed the job after it's been done properly, it'll always say in progress, you see. So they might not necessarily be all in progress. So yeah, give them a good looking at, and then pick them. Now, once you've accepted that, you will have to make the payment. Now, the payment will be held in escrow. So basically what that means is Upwork will hold on to that amount of money until you're happy with the work and the work is complete. Once you're happy, you click pay. Now, you can add a tip to that as well. You can add some words to that as a bit of a review. And that's basically job done. And yeah, it's as simple as that. If you don't like them and you've already paid, it's a bit too late. Now, if there's a few things that you've overlooked and there are a few little errors in there, send it back to them. They'll make those corrections for you, or they should. And yeah, keep in communications with them. They'll often send you an email, so you can contact them in future if they don't want to go through Upwork. So at least you'll have contact details. And if they are with Upwork and they want to stay with Upwork, you'll still be able to communicate with them unless they've closed their account after they've done your job. So that's it. Yep, I recommend Upwork. Take your time choosing who you want to do the work, and don't be scared asking the right questions. You've got a lot of people to consider, thousands, maybe hundreds, thousands, maybe tens of thousands of people who might be reading your material to consider. So, yeah, be thorough.